Hi everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. On today's video, we'll be making this jumpsuit with zipper at the front. I made use of 3 yards of Ankara fabric. If this is what you would love to see, please keep on watching and don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I'll be at the comment section to answer any questions you have for me. Thank you very much. So guys, let's get into it. Yep. The length of my half cut is 17 inches. So now I'll mark 17 inches here. Let's just make it 17 and a half plus joining allowance. Say 17 and a half here. Now, the next I have to do is to mark the bust point. The length of my bust point from shoulder to bust point is 12 inches. So this is 12 inches here. Now connect this line together. Because we are cutting the front and I want my zipper to be at the front of this jumpsuit, I will mark 1 inches for the zipper allowance. So now connect my zip allowance together. Now the next we have to do now is to get the width of the neckline. The width of the neckline I'm using is 3.5. So I'll mark 3.5 here. And I'll come down by 5 inches for the, and I will come down by 5 inches for the depth of my neckline for the front. I want a 4-corner neckline for the front, 3.5. So after getting the width of my neck, the next I have to do is to drop the shoulder measurement. The shoulder I'm working with is 14. 14 divided by 2 give me 7 inches, but I'll add half inches for seam allowance. That's 7.5. Then I'll come down by 1 inches for my shoulder slope. 1 inches. Now connect this 1 inches line to the width of the neckline. So now the next we have to do now is to get the chest line, also known as the bust line. To get your chest line, divide your bust by 6 plus 1.5. The bust I'm working with is 44. 44 divided by 6 plus 1.5 will give me 8.5, which is 8.5. So I'll mark my 8.5 here and check what I have from this, my startup line here. I have 9.5. I'll match it up 9.5 at this end here. Now connect these lines together. So now I'll bring down my shoulder measurement on this chest line, which is 7.5. So now I'll connect with a straight line. And now the next we have to do is to divide the shoulder line by 2. The shoulder line, 8.5 divided by 2 will give you 4.25. Then mark. So now come in by 0.75 like this. To connect your armhole, make use of your French curve the way I'm doing mine, like this. Make sure the French curve is at this point here that we came down, and you connect this way. This is my new armhole. Now the next we have to do is to drop the bust span. The bust span I'm working with is 4.5. So on the bust line I will drop my 4.5, and on my waist, which is the half length, I will drop my 4.5. Now connect this line together. So now I'll open my dart by 0.75 and 0.75. So now I'll come down from the bust line by 1 inches because my dart will not get to the bust point. Come down by 1 inches and connect like this. Do the same thing here also. So now the next we have to do is to drop the bust measurement. The bust I'm working with is 44. 44 divided by 4 will give me 11 inches. I'll drop it on my chest line, 11 inches, then add 1 inches for seam allowance. Then add half inches for ease, altogether 1.5. Then on the half length, which is my waistline, I'll come and mark the waist divided by 4, 40 divided by 4 will give me 10 inches. You can see it's from this my 1 inches I came in for the zipper. That's why I dropped my 10 inches. So now I'll mark 10 inches. Then I will check what I have on my darts. I have 1.5. I'll bring my 1.5 here back and add 1.5 for ease. So now connect this line together like this with a straight line. Now cut this and we'll draft the back pattern. So guys, I'm done with the cutting of my front. You can see how it is. Now let's cut the back pattern. To cut your back pattern, you make sure your fabric is on fold the way mine is on fold. You know the zipper is at the front already, so for the back your fabric has to be on fold. So now the first we have to do is to get the shoulder. The shoulder I'm working with is 7.5. Then I get the width of my neck. We have to match the back neckline with the front. The width of my neck is 3.5 and the depth of my neck is, I want it low a bit, so 6 inches. So now I'll come down by 1 inches and mark. So now the next we have to do now is to get the chest line. The chest line I'm working with is 8.5. Yeah, I'll come here and mark 8.5. I came down from this 1 inches here and mark 8.5. So this is my chest line. Next is to get the length, which is 17.5. This is my 17.5 here. I've connected the lines together. The next we have to do now is to drop down the shoulder measurement on the chest line, which is 7.5. If you want to put your zipper at the front, make sure your back is on fold the way mine is. I will connect this my 7.5 lines together and divide by 2 because this is the back. I'll come in by ½ inches and connect. So now the next we have to do is to drop the bust span. The nipple to nipple, also known as the bust span, I'm using is 4.5. This is 4.5. And I'll come here also and mark 4.5. I'll come down here by 1 inches. My dart is not getting to the chest line. And connect. So now open the dart for the back by half inches. Half inches here also. So now the next we have to do is to drop down the bust measurement. The bust I'm working with is 44. 44 divided by 4 give me 11 plus 1.5 for seam allowance. And the waist, I'll divide my waist by 4. The waist I'm working with is 40. 40 divided by 4 will give me 10 inches plus 1 inches for the dart intake, then plus 1.5 inches. So now connect this line together from the chest to the half length like this. So now cut out. To cut this jumpsuit, the first thing you have to do is to get your startup line. This blue line is my startup line. Now the next I have to do is to get the hip line. My hip line is 9 inches. To get your crouch depth, you divide your hip by 4. The hip I'm working with is 44. 44 divided by 4 will give me 11 inches. But because this is a jumpsuit, I will add 2 inches to my 11 inches. So this is 11 here. Then I'll add 2 inches to it to give me 13 inches. So this is my 13 inches mark here. Now this is the crouch line. Then I'll come down by 22 for the new depth. Now connect these lines together. From this 22 here, which is the new depth, I will mark the full length of my jumpsuit, which is now 44. So this is the main length of the trouser. We are cutting 44. By the time we add the 18 inches for the half cut to give us the full length of the jumpsuit. The next we have to do now is to drop our hip measurement on the crouch depth. I will divide my hip by 4. The hip I'm working with is 44. 44 divided by 4 will give me 11 inches. But because we are cutting directly on the fabric, I will add 1 inches for seam allowance for the sides and half inches for seam allowance for the front, which will give me 12.5. I'll bring this 12.5 on my hip line. I'll come on the waistline also and mark 12.5. So now I'll connect this line together. The next we have to do now is to get the cross extension. To get your cross extension, you divide your hip by 20, the front cross extension. You know we are cutting the front trouser first. So I will divide my hip by 20. 44 divided by 20 give me 2.25. Then I will just make it 2.5. So now I'll just come in out here by 1 inches. So now I'll just connect this like this. This is the front crouch. After getting the front crouch, now the next we have to do is to get the waist. The waist I'm working with is 40. 40 divided by 4 will give me 10 inches. This is my 10 inches here. I'll add 1 inches for that intake. This 1 inches for that. Then 1 inches for seam allowance. So now I'll connect this line, this my that measurement, to the hip line like this. So now I've gotten the hip. So now the next we have to do now is to check what we have on this crouch extension here. I have 15 inches. I'll divide this 15 inches by 2 and mark and check what I have. I have 7.5. Now we have to get a crease line. I'll mark 7.5 on the knee line, and on the hem of the trouser I will mark 7.5. I'll connect the crease line together. So now the next we have to do is to divide the nail. The nail I'm working with is 18. 18 divided by 2 will give me 9. Now I'll bring down my 9 and divide it by 2 here. 9 divided by 2 will give me 4.5. I will mark 4.5 at this end here and come here also and mark 4.5 because we are cutting a palazzo trouser. After doing this, now we've marked the 9 inches here, 9 inches. Now I'll add 1 inches for sewing allowance. Add half inches on this end here. I will share the 1 inches, half inches here, and I'll come here also and mark half inches. So now everything we have here is now 10 inches. Then I will just bring what I have here, which is 10 inches, on the hem of my trouser. So I will mark 5 inches here. So now the next we have to do is to connect from the hip line to the nail line like this. On the inseam, I'll connect the line also like this from the crouch extension to the nail line. So now from the nail line, I'll connect it to the hem of the trouser with a straight line because we're cutting a palazzo trouser. So now cut this front trouser, then we'll cut the back. To cut the back of this jumpsuit, at this side I added 2 inches. Then at the front here I added 1 inches. The first we have to do, we go in from the front crouch by 0.75. On the up of the trouser, I'll come in by 1.5. So on the back of my trouser, I came in by 1.5, and on this crouch depth here, I came in by 0.75. So now I will just connect this like this. Then I'll open this so I can connect this line to this line like this. So this is my new back crouch. Then for the extension for the back, I'll divide my hip by 20. 44 divided by 20 will give me 4.5. So from this 0.75 I came in here, I'll drop my 4.5 here. This is the back crouch. Don't know if you can see it. Okay, now this is the back crouch. You can see how it is. Now we have to give back what we take on this back here. Now I'll get my new waistline, which is 10 inches for the waist, 1 inch for that intake, then 1 inch for seam allowance. So now this is my waist measurement, which is 12.5. Now the next we have to do, now you know it took 0.75 here. Now I have to add it back. Then on this back of my crouch depth, I'll mark 1 inch and add 1 inch for ease. Then I'll do the same thing also on the hip line. 1 inch, then 1 inch for ease. So now I'll just connect like this. And now on the side of my trouser, I'll be adding 2 inches. You can see this 2 inches here. I'll start adding 2 inches to the hem of my trouser. So now connect this line together. Then on this my inseam here, I'll be adding 1 inches for ease. Now connect the inseam lines together. I'm done connecting the seam and the side seam. Then before we cut out, on this center back, we'll come up by 1.5. So now connect this 1.5 I came in on the center back to, I came up by 1.5 because of the butt at the back. So when you sit down, your trouser will not give way. Now I'll cut this out. As I'm done with the cutting of the front and the back, now I'll just go and sew in my darts for the actual fabric and for the lining and tell you what next to do. I'm done with the sewing of my darts for the front and the back. You can see how it is. Now the next we have to do is to turn the neckline on 1/2 inches. I'll go and sew this on 1/2 inches all the way. I'll do this for the front and the back and show you what it looks like. Guys, I'm done with the sewing of the neckline and I launch it at the back so it will lay down flat. This is the front and I've given it a good press. This is the back. I did the same thing also for the back, and you can see how neatly finished the inside is. I owe my dart separately. You can see. So now we'll keep this aside. We'll work on the trouser. For the trouser, I'll go and sew down my darts for the front, and I'll do the same thing also on the back. After sewing my dart for the back, I will join the crouch on 1/2 inches. You know, our zipper will be at the front of the jumpsuit. Now let me do this and show you what it looks like. So guys, I'm done with the sewing of the back crouch. You can see how it is, and I've pressed it open like this. So now open this down, then I'll bring in my 1/2 length. You can see I give it a launch at the center of the back. Now I'll be joining this on 1/2 inches round like this, and I'll do this to this other side of the jumpsuit. Then I'll do the same thing on the front of my jumpsuit. I'm done with the joining of the half cut to the trouser. Now it's giving us jumpsuits. This is the front. Now the next we have to do for the front is to come down by 6 inches here, and I will mark. This is where my zipper will stop. Now I'll go to the sewing machine. I will sew this on 1/2 inches like this, crouch and stop here. Then I'll fix in my zipper from this center front to this 6 inches I came down here. Now to fix your zipper, I'll be making use of this cream zipper for my jumpsuit. I'll just go and sew the zip straight down. I'll do this for the other side of the jumpsuit. I'm done with the fixing of the zipper. You can see how neatly finished it is. The next we have to do is to join the front and the back at the shoulder. I will just put my back, this is the front, that's the back. I'll put it like this, and I will use the front lining to turn it this way, and I will go and sew on 1/2 inches. I will sew this for this shoulder and do the same thing on this other shoulder and show you what it looks like. I'm done with the joining of the shoulder. You can see how it is. This is how it will look at the back, and this is the front. Now the next we have to do is to join the sides of our jumpsuit on 1 inches. So now we'll go and join the sides on 1 inches all the way to the hem of this jumpsuit. So guys, I'm done with the joining of the side of the jumpsuit. Now we have to join the inseam. To join your inseam, you bring the crotch here, and you bring the back crotch and the front crotch together like this. Open the seams like this, the way I open mine. And now we'll sew from this center of the crotch here to the hem of the trouser. After doing that, you do the same thing also on the other leg of the jumpsuit. I'm done with the joining of the crotch. You can see how it is. Now keep this aside. It's to cut out the sleeve. I have a video below on how to draft the basic sleeve. This is my basic sleeve here. We're cutting a puff sleeve. In order to do that, we'll slash and spread our basic sleeve. I'll be slashing the sleeve by 1.5. I'll mark 1.5 here. And come here also and mark 1.5. I'll do this to the end of this place like this. I'm done marking the lines. Now connect it like this. So after connecting, now we have to label the sleeve. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have 6. So now slash this out. Next thing we have to do, I'll fold my folding allowance where I'll pass in my elastic. Now I'll put number 1 here and pin down. So now from here I'll leave 1 inches gap. You can either leave 1 inches, 1.5, 2 inches depending on your fabric, but me I will leave in 1 inches gap, and I'll put number 2 here. For number 3, 1 inches gap. So now I'm done with the placing of the patterns. Now the next we have to do is to just trace this like this. This is it. Now cut this out. So guys, I'm done with the cutting of the sleeve. I cut 2 of this sleeve. The next I have to do is to separate my pattern from the fabric. The next I have to do is to go and fold my sleeve on 1 inches like this. I'm done with the folding of the hem of the sleeve, and I've cut out my elastic. The round of my sleeve is 14, but I cut out the elastic on 12 inches. You can see it's 12. It's 12 inches. The round of my sleeve is 14. I cut the elastic on 12 inches. I removed 2 inches from it. Now I'll be passing my elastic through the sleeve. I'm done passing my elastic here. I use my office pin to secure the elastic to the fabric. I did the same thing on this other end also. I'll go to the sewing machine. I will secure this down and this other side. Then I will join the sleeve together. Then I will tell you what next to do. I'm done with the joining of the sleeve at the side. Now we have to fix this to the jumpsuit. You can see I launched the center of my sleeve first. I'll bring the joining at the side of the jumpsuit and the joining at the side of the sleeves together like this and pin down. Then I'll flip this over inside. Then bring this joining at the shoulder with the launch I have at the center of my sleeve and put them together and pin down also. This joining here to somewhere here before this place here, and start doing plinting on the sleeve to the center. This allowance I have here, I use it to plint on the sleeve. I'll do this for this side of the sleeve and this other side. I will do the same thing on the other side of the sleeve, and I will fold the hem of my jumpsuit and display it for you to see. I'm done with the fixing of the sleeve, and I've gone ahead also to fold in the hem of my jumpsuit. Thank you, and thank you guys for watching to the end. I really appreciate you guys. See you on my next video. God bless you.